What's going on? Charles Weinraub, AKA the Handsome Homebuyer. And on this week's podcast, we have hard-charging newcomer, Tim Galligan of Team Galligan, Keller Williams. Yeah, kid. Welcome everybody back to another episode of the Handsome Homebuyer podcast. My name is Charles, AKA the Handsome Homebuyer, AKA Captain Permit, AKA Levy. Bring it here. Okay. Bring it down.
Eludio maravilloso.
That was a very, very seductive, very passionate El Judío maravilloso. Actually, Louis, do it up for us, bro. Do it up for the people at home.
El Judío maravilloso.
Yo, that was fucking sexy. Do you know who is also a sex symbol?
Captain Permit.
I gotta give you a minute to build more in the permit world. Captain Permit. 516-513-8838. If you need plans, you need permits, you need anything permit related, we got you tip to tip, coast to coast. And by that, I mean the Queens Long Island border, all the way to Montauk. Interior alterations, legalizations, new construction, commercial, you name it, we got you. We're a realtor's best friend, an attorney's best friend, a title company's best friend, a mortgage person's best friend. Did I leave anybody out? Anybody else in real estate?
Got it.
A home inspector's best friend. We want to be your best friend. Anyway, regardless, 516-513-8838. Obviously, I'm the Handsome Homebuyer, so if you have a house that smells like cat pee, a knockdown in Rockville Center, a piece of land out in Nissaquag, whatever it might be, you know I'm quick, I'm easy, Lord knows I'm a good time, and...
You're a great time.
I want to buy it. Come on, Levy, we're supposed to be connected. It's pre-8 o'clock, that's what it is, right?
I think so. I didn't drink coffee.
I'm like, Levy, I forgot. We have a 7 o'clock podcast. I forgot to tell you. And all he sends me is the coffee emoji.
Wow.
And that's
didn't
it.
drink yet.
You look very snuggly right now, by the way.
Pretty warm. It's cold today.
It is. It's freezing.
516-777 sold. Also want to shout out to the new text platform, which I've been forgetting to shout out. 516-871-3511. If you want to text me about anything real estate related, commercial development, fix and flip, Section 8 rentals, whatever I know, you know, I am at your disposal. It is me. It is not a bot. I try to get back to everybody as quick as possible. I usually check about 2 to 3 times a day. So hit me up. Guaranteed to get back. Again, 516-871-3511. All right, man. We got a good episode today. I'm pumped up about this.
Yeah,
I'm pumped up, and it's fucking pre-8 o'clock.
Love it.
Very cool the way we got to meet.
Absolutely.
Unbelievably, it was a huge honor for me, really. And you said some amazing things, and that really filled my heart, man, because I've been making content for a while, and you know, like we've been talking before, I'm kind of like in this little black hole of I hang out in my office, I go to a house that stinks like cat piss and then it has fleas, and then I come back. So I'm kind of like detached from the world.
Right.
So it was really, really nice to be able to, you know, meet you and meet your entire team who are doing big things, which I'm really excited to talk about.
Awesome.
And you know, get that positive feedback. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having us on the show.
So with that said, we have Tim Galligan and Louis Velazco. Got it right?
There it is. That was good.
I even got a little flavor from Team Galligan, Keller Williams. Welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Good to
Thanks
see you, man.
for
Good to see
having
you.
us.
I feel like we're gonna have to, and forgive me for this, we're gonna have to bring back in a whole bunch of stuff that we just talked about over the last 45 minutes because we had a great conversation.
We basically had a podcast before the podcast.
We basically had a podcast. I feel like we should have the things set up beforehand.
Yeah.
Because sometimes the pre-podcast conversations with certain people are even better than ends up what's coming out after.
I feel like it happens all the time, even on our podcast now. You know, people come on. It's like you have the podcast before the podcast. It's just the thing.
So talk to me about. We're gonna jump around all over the place. So you've been in real estate for how long?
A little over a year, about 14, 15 months.
Okay, cool. Which is not a long time at all. I mean, there's certain and especially for the stuff that you guys are doing is fucking crazy. Because, you know, the average realtor, I mean, I don't even know if they do their first deal in that period of time. You have like an intense team. You guys are fucking cranking out dozens of deals a month. Like it's nuts. But specifically, how long have you been doing where was our podcast was how long ago?
Like a month ago.
Was it a month ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've had a month of content creation, right?
Correct.
What has that done to your business? What has it done to the morale of the team and the agents? What kind of impact has that had on everything?
Yeah, tremendous. So I kind of jumped into it. It's one of those things where there's no ROI measurement on it, so to say, or there's nothing to it. It's just take the leap, do it. And I took your advice, and we started it up. So since then, I say team morale is definitely up. It's exciting, right? It's exciting to be something, to be a part of something like that. We've had some amazing guests. including yourself as the first, which was
Thank you,
unbelievable
sir.
and a great kickstart to the podcast. We got a lot of feedback on that.
Nice.
And I'd say that a lot of things pop up out of the woodwork, things that you wouldn't necessarily expect, but a lot of opportunity, windows opening, and people definitely looking at you in a different light. And I think the scale that we did it at, with such professionalism and a real camera crew and a great setup, really added to that. So it's been nothing short of amazing.
That's awesome. And so, and again, I guess consistency is key. I see that you're ripping them out every week.
Yeah.
You guys are, making other type of videos. It really, like you said, build team morale.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of fun. I mean, what would you say to people out there? And it's interesting because your team is like, everybody's pretty much jumped on board and they're very natural with it, which is
right.
Which is like the rarest part, because usually people are like, they're looking at the phone, they really is that just the personality and the environment that you guys have created just lends itself to people being comfortable and just bearing it all out there?
100%. We definitely have a very unique, I don't know if it's unique or not, but a very specific culture where everyone on the team kind of has, the same principles, same sense of humor, same, dedication, drive to win, and whatever it takes type attitude.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. So just to delve back a little bit of how you got into real estate. Again, you've only been, and you said you got into real estate by accident.
Yeah, I did. So before real estate, my background is consumer packaged goods. So I worked with companies like Vitamin Water, Smart Water.
In the design aspect?
No. So from a sales aspect. So I would work for these different companies. The last company I worked for was a startup company, very, very small. It was a bottled tea company. And our goal there was, to gain distribution in all big retailers that you might have heard of: Target, Costco, Whole Foods, et cetera. So I would fly around the country. I would meet with the buyer, the decision maker for that account, and try and get our product placed onto the shelf.
Okay. Which is not easy.
No, it's not, and it's a lot of follow-up. But I did find that it is very similar to real estate, as weird as that may sound.
Okay.
Right? Because you're starting off with the approach of figuring out who that person is, how am I going to capture them, what's my value proposition. Right? It's all the same, just kind of in a different way. So I was doing that for a while, and it was awesome. Some real life experiences. But I decided, and actually my wife was a big part of this, I quit my job. And I decided to, when I was traveling, I was flying all over the place. So I was, and health has been a big part of my background. I believe my work ethic comes from fitness and health, working out. I was obsessed with, I wanted to be like Arnold Schwarzenegger when I was like 15 years old.
Well, would you just say in general that you have an addictive personality like
100%.
Like the rest of us?
No doubt about it. Yeah. It's like a bar to entry,
Yeah.
So I was doing that, and at that point, I quit my job because when I was traveling, it was tough to eat healthy. So I had this idea to sprinkle protein on top of my food.
Okay.
So I didn't know how I was going to do it. I wasn't sure exactly what
just
it
like
would
take
look like.
protein powder and put it on top of whatever you were
Not
eating.
powder though, but because then it would, it wouldn't maybe taste good or be, kind of get messed up in your mouth or whatever. But I wanted to invent like these little crunchy bits that you could just sprinkle on top of your food, just like a salt or a pepper.
Okay.
Right, and it would add protein to your food, and it would taste great.
That's interesting.
So I did it.
Did this happen?
It did.
What happened?
It's called Top It. That's the name. I still sell products on Amazon today.
Really?
Yeah.
What is it?
So Top It is a plant-based product. You sprinkle it on top of your food. It adds protein to your food.
Okay.
I was lucky enough. I hooked up with the ex-vice president of Unilever's food development division at Rutgers University, and we developed this product. So I had quit my job. I went into work and was like, look, I'm going to do my own thing. Appreciate all the opportunity. I'm out. I had no idea what I was going to do. But I knew that I was meant to do something on my own, to grow something, to grow a business. So I developed that product, and I learned the hard way that innovation is a gift and a curse, right? So I had this innovative product. What I found is the problem is you need tens of millions of dollars to tell people about this innovative product. So to combat that, I made protein powders. Okay. So I started selling those on Amazon to use that revenue to tell the story of the toppings.
Okay. So you basically started a side hustle to fund your super side hustle.
Correct.
Okay. Got it. All right. Got it.
Exactly. And then as I kept going through it, I realized, man, every single dollar, penny, cent of profit goes back into this goes back into the company to continue to grow it. I'm starving, right? So I had to figure out how to make money to support my family, right? I was married at the time, so within 5 years ago, I did everything all at once, right? I decided to quit my job. I got married. I bought a home.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, everything. All at that time.
But I would say that's a good time. You're 33, so you're 28. You were 28 then.
Yeah, exactly.
And at that point, like, okay, you're married, yes, but you don't have any kids. So I always say to people, I was like, it's never going to get easier for you to take a risk than it is today, regardless of like where you are.
That's absolutely true.
It never gets easier. It only gets harder. You only get older. You only have more kids. You like shit becomes more expensive. Like whatever it is.
Right. Yeah. No, and I recognize that. Yeah.
So you just like, so I mean that's basically the perfect time to do that.
Yeah. So I took that risk, and now I'm doing this, and I was doing anything that I could. Right. My father-in-law has a DJ company. I was humping DJ equipment in and out of venues. I was literally doing anything that I could to continue to pursue my dream, but also bring in money. You got to make money.
Yeah.
So then I had an idea to start making websites for people. Right. It was a constant hustle, right? I needed to bring in money to pursue my dream.
Yeah. It's just interesting because they're so different.
Yeah.
Because like for me, I'm in sales. I like that. Like I like creating deals. I like being out in the street. I like meeting people like you. I like coming up with creative ideas. But to sit there and make websites, like I don't have the attention span. I would blow my brains out. Like I'm ADD to the max. I'd be like twitching in front of the computer. So you're such an extroverted guy.
Yeah. Well, I didn't actually make them myself. Okay. Some of them I did, but most of the time I had a team who did it, and I was essentially hired myself to be a salesman, and then had a team under me that would build them, and I would be like the intermediate between the two people.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, so I was doing that, and that worked well, man. I kind of found a niche in there. I would take the train to wherever it was, or go wherever it was, travel to tattoo conventions.
Okay.
And I would walk around to.
Do you have any tattoos?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just curious.
And I would go to the tattoo convention specifically because a tattoo artist, at the time I think it's artwork, right? So you need to showcase that. So how can I get in front of the most people who would need a website at one time? So I would go to tattoo conventions, and I would walk from table to table.
Why did you think tattoos though? Just because it's artwork?
I think my first client, when I first started to do it, I was like, you know what? Let me stop at this place. And I stopped at a tattoo shop in Huntington. And the first place I stopped into, they bought a website. So I was like, oh man.
Oh, tattoos
it is.
All right.
So I was doing that, and it worked great. It did exactly what I needed it to do.
That's actually really smart.
Yeah, I mean, it gave me the money that I needed to live while also being able to pursue my dream. And then
just the efficiency of the way you do it. And you are like, you're a very calculated, organized type of guy, which we'll get into a little later. But sure. I guess it's just, it's by design, I guess. That's who you are. Like you're hardwired that way.
Yeah. And
it just lends itself to you being good in business because you set up processes and things like that.
Yeah.
Keep talking to me about tattoos.
So then I decided to switch it up a bit. The town of West Babylon had like a fair around Christmas time where it was small businesses and restaurants, and so I went and I walked from table to table as if I was a visitor, just to take a look at people's businesses and see if they needed a website.
Okay.
So I met one gentleman there, and he needed a website. So next week I met him. He was an older guy, great guy, and I think he's probably 75, something around there. And so I sat down with him to do the website, learn a little bit more, and he goes, you know what? I'm too old. I just want to sell the place. So I go, I'll sell it for you.
Wait, this is his business?
This is business, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You're like, here, buy a website. He's like, I just want to sell you. No, I'll sell it.
Yes, I said I'll sell the restaurant.
Okay.
Right. So I had taken, for some reason, 6 years prior to that, I had taken my school test.
Okay.
For real estate. I never took the state test.
Okay.
So I took it the next week.
What?
Right. And I had to do anything to survive.
Wow.
In order to continue to grow my business, my supplement business. So anything that presented itself, I would always try and do or figure out in some way, shape, or form. Make a long story short on how I wound up at Keller Williams. I went back to the guy who gave me my mortgage on the home that I had bought.
Wait, did you sell the restaurant?
No, never sold the restaurant.
Did you try to sell it?
Of course.
Yeah, those things aren't easy to sell.
No, they're not.
You can't blame yourself for that, bro.
I'm not. No, trust me, I didn't. But I called the guy who gave me the mortgage on my home when I purchased my home. He introduced me to a guy named Pete Diaz, who's at Keller Williams, a good friend of mine, great dude, and he brought me into there. So all I wanted to do was just hang my license. I just wanted to sell this, make quick X dollars, whatever it was for the sale of the restaurant. So I go in to meet the team leader at Keller Williams, and I told him right from the rip, I said, don't try and sell me anything. Like, I just want to hang this thing. Just leave me alone. All I want to do is sell this restaurant. Have a nice day. All right. And when I walked in, something happened. I walked into there, and there was silence. And I'm looking around. I'm like thinking to myself, what the hell goes on in this place? You know, I don't understand. Like, you know, I was expecting like papers to be flying out the door, phones to be ringing off the hook, people yelling at one another like a Wall Street trading room, you know? So I went to the team lead and I said, what goes on here? Is this a sales place, or I don't understand? And she goes, well, I wish more people thought like that. So then it opened up my mind, and I started thinking about it a bit. But I had this preconceived vision of what a real estate agent was, and it's not what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
Right? I thought it was like an older housewife who, you know, kind of did it on the side, and, you know, stuff you see on TV.
Yeah.
So for like 6 months, I didn't pursue it, but I thought about it. And then I decided to pursue it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I think that's sales in general. Like I owned a body shop before this, and I was trained by a gentleman who sold Electrolux vacuum cleaners door to door in the 70s. And he was like a classically trained salesman in the way that it just, that kind of stuff doesn't exist anymore. Like
right.
Xerox used to have these programs, and Zig Ziglar, you ever heard of Zig Ziglar?
Yeah.
Tommy Hopkins, like...
No.
These are like the greats of like old school sales, where there's like an actual like science and methodology to it, where they talk about, you know, the discovery phase. So in Mako, it was a 3-part sale. So the discovery phase, which is at the car, where you're asking these probing questions. Then you come inside when you're doing the presentation, where you're actually like giving them options, but you're leading them exactly where you want them to go. But you're setting it up so they feel they're making the decision. And then you have the explanation with the close type of thing.
Right.
I don't know why the hell I was telling you. No, it's going to come back. But when I first got into it, when I first opened the Mako and he was training me, I'm like, I don't want to be a salesman, man.
Right.
Like, salesmen have this, like, sleazy, you know, just kind of negativity about them. And that's actually really, it became who I am as a person. And I realized, like, being a salesperson is not a bad thing. All being a salesperson is, if you're an honest salesperson, is you're being an effective communicator.
Correct.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. You know, you have to approach everything with an open mind, because you never know.
No, 100%. I think that's something that I always lost sight of, or I think a lot of people do, is business as a core is pretty simple, right? It's providing value to someone,
Yeah.
whatever that value proposition may be, and having the audience, finding the audience to provide that value to, right? So, and then communicating it together is the sales part.
So, I mean, I think building a business is easy. What I think is difficult is scaling a business.
Sure.
So you built your own business where you're selling real estate, you're doing good.
Right.
And then, which is a very cool thing about you is, and we had this conversation on the lawn yesterday, and this was like something that I'll always remember about you. And you're like, hey, listen, like, you know, I like making, this was a big moment for me, just as a testament to your character. And this is something that you want. A lot of people shy away from teams in real estate out of ignorance.
Right.
Being on the right team, and there's very few of them, is an unbelievably valuable thing.
No doubt about
you know,
it.
you will. It's in my opinion, it's like having a coach. Like I had Carl Chavon
Right.
as a coach for years. I would never be where I was without him.
Sure.
The right team in real estate is huge, and they shy away from that. And you said to me, you know, I'm making money, I'm happy, but it's not the money. It's the fact that I get to like watch my team grow
100%.
and I help them develop, and like, you know, I'm taking these like, you know, young minds and basically help to give them a career.
Yeah. That's definitely true. I'd say in the beginning, I'm not going to lie, money was definitely my biggest motivation.
Of course,
100%. But it was when I look back at it, that's really out of fear, right? I'm starving, right? Or I need to survive.
Well, it's necessity. It's literally survival.
Right, exactly.
But once you get enough money that you know you're not going to starve.
It doesn't drive you anymore.
Exactly. What's the motivator?
Right. And for me, that's my family.
Yeah.
My wife, who had faith in me throughout all of, you know, this building process and the ups and downs of all these different businesses, and my team. I work for my team.
So let's talk about the process of, because I remember, you know, on the podcast, or I don't know if it was before the podcast or on the podcast, you said that you had listened to something that I put up there, I posted, and you had like a mindset change.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember you saying like I had a mindset change, and then that kind of changed the trajectory of what you're doing and started the team.
Yeah, 100%. So I believe that in my mind, I think in all people, but I'll speak for myself, that I almost view it as like different portals of my mind, right? So there's like almost like a piston in a car engine, right? And whether it be good or bad, different traits, whether it be faith, whether it be fear, whether it be drive, whether it be motivation, whatever it may be. And if all of those are not maintained and well oiled, I'm screwed. right? I'm not going to reach that point of what I call like a free flow, right? Where my mind is just free flowing and I'm 100% me.
It's interesting that you say that, only because that to me sounds like you're trying to create balance within your life, but at the same time seems to be difficult for people like you and me.
Right. It's very difficult.
Like, I'm not balanced at all.
Yeah. So, with that, one of those things that wasn't the most clear was coming from a place of abundance, right? I always had a fear around that of, okay, well, if I tell someone this or that, they're going to use it against me, or that's my competitor. That's conventional thinking, though. That's what society thinks. Right. And it's not right.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to realize that. And there's a certain thing that happens when you give back and teach someone something or do the right thing. And when you were on that call and you said it, it was just like the last time that I needed to hear it for it to click. And I swear, when I went back and I said, you know what? Maybe this guy knows what he's talking about. And I took that approach and literally overnight, it was that last thing that needed, when I'm using the reference of pistons in a motor in my brain, right?
Yeah.
It was the last one that needed to be cleared up and well oiled. And from there, it just, it created total positivity.
So what were you doing in your business before, and then what did you implement in your business after?
Sure. So beforehand, so when I first got in, my initial thought was to create a team.
Okay.
Right. I didn't necessarily want to be out there selling homes. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Not that I don't enjoy doing it, but I know that my strength is in an operational standpoint.
Interesting. Okay.
Right. So right away, I knew that a team was the best fit for me. I tried doing that, and it didn't work from the beginning. So I went out and did it myself.
Okay.
And I am very, very good at it. I have a natural knack for sales. When I'm out there, I'm able to, to help and get it done. I might not be the best at certain things, but I'm a great executor. Whatever needs to be done, it's done. Like,
got it.
100%. So from there, I'd say the biggest thing that changed was from me doing that to being able to delegate that and tell and teach everyone exactly what to do, and let loose on that end, completely changed the landscape of the business.
You think it was important, though, that you had that like micro failure early on that kind of pushed you to actually do it yourself, so that now you can better train
100%.
your team?
Yeah. I mean,
your team members.
I think that everything sounds cliche, but I do think that everything happens for a reason. Yeah. I don't believe in good and bad. I just believe that there is, right? So if something which naturally might seem bad, it happens for a reason. It's going to teach you a lesson in the long run. That enables me to keep more of a positive mindset when quote unquote bad things do happen. But yeah, it was definitely necessary, and I use that model as we continue to grow. So if there's something new that we want to implement to the business, I go and I do it myself. At that point, once I know and work out the tweaks, then I'll replicate that and scale it.
Nice. So talk about, and again, we were like, a lot happened on that lawn yesterday in 5 minutes. I was like, oh, this is fucking interesting. So you talked about, so I've read so I owned a franchise, so I'm familiar with franchise model, and I read the E-Myth. You read the E-Myth?
No, I haven't.
Read the E-Myth.
I have to. All right.
Read the E-Myth. It's dope. So
I haven't read it yet either.
The E-Myth essentially is a book that talks about the different traits of a business person. There's the worker mentality, the manager mentality, and entrepreneur mentality. And why people get stuck in different mentalities and ultimately can't grow a business. Like the biggest issue with small businesses is nobody ever teaches you how to do any of this shit.
Right.
So most small businesses, you end up just kind of buying a job as opposed to like elevating yourself, replicating yourself, and then elevating yourself to like an entrepreneurial level where you can have people working for you and working on the business versus in the business. So the big thing is they say any business that you build, you want to build it as if it's a franchise that you're going to sell. So you do every task and then you write a manual and you hire someone to replace yourself.
Right.
Now, I said, the E-Myth when you started talking about that yesterday. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. But you're actually, but that's what you're doing.
Right.
So, and nobody in real estate is doing that shit, bro.
Yeah, I think, like you said, the manual, standard operating procedures, and, when someone walks into the room, if you're going to backfill yourself for that position, they need to know exactly what to do. So how are they going to learn best, right? Well, we have that written out in guidelines, procedures, what's worked, take the guessing work out of it and cut down that time to scale. So,
but where did you learn about that? Like, was that in other businesses that you worked in when you were a salesperson, you saw it, or you just?
No. I remember I was talking with Carl one day, and Carl Chabon, and.
How long have you been training with him for?
I'd say about training with him. I've been talking to him for about 6 months, training with him for about maybe 4 months.
Okay, in real estate investing?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Any like flips, rentals? Like, what do you want to do in the
So
space?
at first, I actually, the reason I went to Carl was because I was like, I was working with all different, people and stuff, and I was like, it'd probably just be so much easier just to stick to the business aspect of it and just flip homes.
Okay. Yeah, no.
And
yeah.
So I spoke with Carl, and he said, "You sold how many homes in what amount of time?" He goes, "Look, you're not flipping homes." I mean, he didn't say this exactly, but you're not flipping homes.
Yeah.
Buy homes, hold homes. You're good at what you do. Stick to it. The profit margin is not that big of a difference.
Yeah.
Do what you're doing because you're good at it, and just shut up.
Yeah. No, that's a huge thing. So I teach a class, a continuing education class for realtors called Real Estate Investing for Realtors.
Right.
And everybody comes in, they're like, we're going to learn how to flip. And then first thing I'm like, listen, sorry to disappoint you guys, but this is not what this class is about. This class is about passively investing in real estate through rentals and lending money and things like that. And half the room's like,
Yeah. Just want to get to it.
But what I try to explain to people is I'm like, listen, I flip houses to buy rentals. It's that simple.
Exactly.
I mean, it looks sexy on TV, but it's like a lot of bullshit.
Yep.
So, and it's also a lot of risk.
Sure.
So, financial risk, just whatever it is, just operational brain damage risk. All you have to do is figure out a way to make money and then put it into passive investments like rental properties.
That's it.
And that's it. Same result.
Right. Different path.
Just different method.
Yeah, and we've adapted that into the team too. So everyone on the team has the opportunity to hit a certain goals and achievements where at that point you can be an equity partner in different investment deals.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool model that we kind of put together after, because it's exciting, right?
Well, what you're doing is actually, I think what you're doing is a lot bigger than you even realize what you're doing. So when I had considered opening a brokerage back in the day, the biggest thing is realtors don't have retirement.
Right. No.
Like, they don't.
Entrepreneurs in general.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurs in general don't, but like for some reason, just realtors specifically, it feels like even more so. Maybe because we're immersed in it, and that's just what I'm used to dealing with. But they're not set up for retirement at all, and nobody talks about it. No brokers talk about it.
Right.
So if you are giving agents, your team members, the ability to passively invest in real property in an area that they're comfortable with, that's a fucking literal game changer.
Yeah.
Like, that is huge, really big.
Yeah, again, it's taking that model, right? I'm going and learning it, do it, figure it out, then everyone else can do it.
Yeah, no, that's crazy, man. That is really crazy.
Yeah.
So kudos to you.
Thanks, man.
So keep talking about the standard operating procedure shit, because that is awesome. Like, what are the types of things that for the team, what are the types of things that you put into standard operating procedure?
Sure.
How do you go about, training? Because you're like, your team has like energy. They're like fucking savages. Like, bro, they're ready to go. I was in there. I was like, oh, this is different.
Yeah. No, we definitely breed that type of culture. Standard operating procedures as a whole, when something happens, you never not want to know what to do.
Okay.
Right. So some of those will be, cross-functional between departments, right? So for example, on a listing, there might be, 80 steps on that flow chart, and what does that look like, and who's
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it, right? I mean, from calling for the appraisal, from follow-up calls, from inspection to the lawyers. I mean, all that stuff needs to be laid out so everything runs like a well-oiled machine. And certain points we were, flowing, and you almost have to take your foot off the gas a little bit to get that in place, because if not, you're going to cost yourself more volume, money, and excitement for the team in the long run. Like, that needs to be concrete. That's a very important part of our team. Something happens, everyone knows exactly what to do. Yeah,
no, that's a big thing. There's a lot of times where in business, and I dealing with it right now, I deal with it all the time, and it's frustrating, which is you're getting traction and you're moving, and then you're like, yo, I actually have to take a step back in order to implement like processes, procedures, hire, etc. Because if I keep going, I'm going to lose my mind, or it's just going to blow up because you don't have like the operational capacity to handle what.
Yeah, and the other side of it is it's unfair to you, it's unfair to the team, and it's unfair to your client as well, right? Because it's affecting all of it. If you're not smooth operating and everything is in line for such a great experience for the client, at the end of the day, I mean, that's what it's about, right?
So, fire market on Long Island right now, bro, right?
Nuts.
It just 80 people standing on fucking line to get an open house.
Did you see our story the other day?
Yes, there was like a crazy freaking line.
Yeah, it was nuts.
Dude, where is that house?
That one was in Miller Place. I think it was like 150 people at this open house.
Wow.
Yeah.
It is, bro. It is a very good time. If you can get product, it is a very, very good time to to be in real estate on Long Island.
No, absolutely.
As a developer, as an agent.
Yeah.
But most agents are super frustrated when they're working with buyers. They're not getting accepted offers. They're having a hard time getting listings because it is as competitive as a market as you can possibly get. Super low inventory, crazy freaking demand. But you guys are doing deals.
Yeah, we are. We're doing a lot of them.
So what essentially, when you're on the Galligan team, what separates you guys from 99% of the other agents out there? Because those are the real numbers, like we were talking about before. 2.5% of all the agents do 95% of the business.
Right. So do you mean from a standpoint of how we're getting the deals, or from an experience to the client?
Just, anything that you want to talk about, because you guys are closing deals on both sides of the fence. You are getting listings,
Correct.
which it's difficult, and then you are also you're getting your buyers' offers accepted.
Correct.
Which is like, how do you? So essentially, all right, here's one question. In your opinion, how do you make your buyers' offers stand out in a market of 25 friggin' offers? And then how do you set up with your buyers? Like when you take on a buyer.
Yep.
How do you guys prep these people to be like, yo, we're going into a fucking war here.
Exactly. Well, you need to.
And you got to be ready for battle.
Yeah.
Like before we go out there, we're going to turn you into like a trained Navy SEAL in house buying, and we're going to get this shit done in Miller Place.
Yeah, I think it's important for people to understand that, and that's on you as the real estate agent and ultimately salesperson to be able to, train them on the fact that, look, homes are going over. If you think that you're going to go to a home right now, and if it's, let's just say, listed at 500, and you're going to get it for 490 or 500 or 510, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to read that person and understand exactly what they're looking for, and maybe even shop at a lower price point. Some good tips on what could stick out. So I think of it as myself when I'm listing a home. What do I look for, and what draws me to a certain person and its organization, right? Like if someone's calling you like, hey man, I got an offer of 500. Let me know. It's like, dude, I have 26 other offers. What are you talking about? Send it in an email.
Yeah.
So making sure that it's all sent, properly organized, kind of gives you the comfortability that the rest of the deal is going to go smooth. So that's definitely a big part of it. The lender calling as well too. I think that's a big deal.
Huge.
Yeah.
No, and I say this all the time. I have sold literally 400 plus houses at this point.
Right.
Never, and I mean never, has a lender called me or any of the agents that have listed any of my properties to be like, yo, XYZ is my guy or girl. They just put an offer in. I got you. We're going to close this thing. Boom, boom, boom. Let me talk to you about their credit, their this, their that.
Right.
Never.
Yeah.
Fucking doesn't happen.
Yeah, I think at a certain point too, it's not always about the money. Now, don't get me wrong, the money's important for accepting the offer, but also there's a lot more that goes into it in this funky market, right?
Of course.
So now if I'm submitting an offer to you, the buyer who's looking to buy the home is already trained to know that, hey, look, we're going into this thing, we're going into war, right? Then you as the listing agent is getting a properly submitted offer from me or whoever the agent is. They're getting a call from the lender saying, hey, Joe Smith is good to go. Just wanted to introduce myself, give a call. We'd like to, have everything organized. This is important.
Yeah.
Right? Because you as the listing agent is giving that comfortability through, on how the rest of the deal will play out.
No, without a doubt. And even if the agent that's taking the offer isn't nearly as organized, on a subconscious level, they're gonna appreciate that.
100%.
So listen, that's not to say if your offer is $50,000 off, you're not gonna get it.
$50,000 off, right?
But like I've taken offers that are $10,000 less because I'm like, yo, they're gonna close. It's gonna be easy because especially when you're working with an investor, every day is money. So every day I carry a house costs me anywhere from $100 to $300 a day.
Right.
So if I have a lender who sucks that I'm dealing with, and this thing drags out for 45 more days, I've lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
So. And there's a lot of risk that's involved in that. So, the more organized, the quicker you are, the better you are.
Right.
You get it done.
Or even worse, it falls through.
Well, that's the thing. And especially in this market also, you have to know that there's a tremendous amount of buyer's remorse. Like I did a deal in Uniondale. We had 16 accepted offers where the people disappeared.
What?
Wow.
Yeah.
16?
Disappeared.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like this. But that's what you expect that in a market like this because people get freaked out. But 16 was insane.
Yeah, 16 is insane. But I think what's happening is buyers are also getting like buyer's fatigue, right? So instead of going to a home and putting in an offer, it's almost like they're going to 10 homes, putting in 10 offers, and whatever sticks.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that are super frustrated. Like people DM me all the time, like, do you have anything that's coming out? I'm like, yeah, but it's going on the market. And they're just like, like it's really, really hard. Interesting thing that an agent did. I don't know if if they did this on purpose or what the deal was, but interesting philosophy is you have your people come in. So yeah, someone did this to me on the Wine Dance House. You have your people come in insanely high, right? Like just stupid high, but no appraisal waiver or anything like that, and they're going to end up getting it for the appraised price.
Right.
So if the thing's going to appraise for $450 and you have people coming in at like, $440, $450, $460, you come in $500,
right.
No appraisal, they do the appraisal, you're going to get it for market value.
Right.
Just an interesting like sniper tactic. But you have to have a client that really fucking trusts you. Like you got to have a client that really fucking trusts you to do that. But I think that's one of the ways right now to make it work.
Sure.
Because it's just so freaking competitive.
Yeah. I mean, and then you got to do the good job of getting it appraised, right? On the listing side, yeah.
I mean, on the listing side, yeah. But I mean, you're limited. There's, the comps are there, the comps are there. Like this house in Wyandanch, I listed the house for $399. There was like a $415 type of house at the time where I bought it because it was I bought it when COVID hit and everyone lost all their financing. I just started really buying like a crazy man, and I listed it at $399 to get more action, and I fucking got an accepted offer for $495.
Wow.
Which I was like, but ultimately it appraised for $450.
Wow.
And I had to take $450. I mean, listen, I'm very happy about that. It was a great number, but some people could look at it and be like, fuck, I lost $50K. But that person, by doing that, locked up the house that they wanted, and they got it for what was appraised at, and it was legit. Like if you looked at the comps, there was nothing else that was what the house was worth.
Right. Yeah.
So I thought that was an interesting tactic. I was like, good for you, man. That was some fucking shit.
You got to really trust your agent. Yeah.
You got to really trust your agent. But there was nothing I could do on the appraisal side. Like if I went there, I looked like my dad was listing that particular house, and he's like, what do you want me to do? I'm like, there's nothing to do. There's nothing you can do.
It just is what it is.
The comps are what the comps are. So it's just interesting. It's people are having a really tough time out there. You could see the frustration. And I mean, what do you think about the market in general? Where do you think it's going? For the rest of this year, possibly next year?
I don't know. If I had to guess, I mean, when I think about it as a whole, I'd say like over the past, let's say 7 to 10 years, to me it kind of started with Brooklyn and Manhattan, right? So everything was Manhattan. People started going to Brooklyn, right? So now you see kind of what I see is like an eastward movement, right? So then you see like areas like Ridgewood, Glendale, and it gets closer and closer and closer to the island where these properties have doubled in value over the last 5 years, whatever it may be. And I think that Suffolk County is really going to continue to blow up. I mean, to me, when people are coming from Queens, Brooklyn, Manhattan, wherever it may be, they're hitting that point of Nassau up until, let's say, Mineola, Westbury, Carl Place. And then there's a certain switch where it's like, wait, if I just go another 20 minutes, I could be in Comac and have a half acre of land for the same price.
Yeah, and half the taxes.
I'm going to go there.
Yeah.
So I think that the beginning of Suffolk is now like the let's call it the old beginning of Nassau, right? If that makes any sense.
No, I understand what you're saying.
And I think that eastward movement will continue.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me, it's very. But do you think the market's going to stay strong? You think it's going to cool off because it's fucking nuts?
Yeah. I think it will continue to be strong.
Yeah. No, I feel the same way. I think it's going to be
I mean, I don't have a crystal ball. Maybe those are just hopes.
But, but I'm with you. Like if I think it's going to be absolutely nuts this year. I think it's going to be absolutely nuts next year. I mean, there's no real, and then after that, it's a little bit too far to tell, just based on interest rates and shit like that. But there's no systemic reason that the market should shift. Interesting side note. So when I first got into real estate, this guy met me and he's like, I see that you got it, or at least he thought I had it at the time. And he said, I want to fund all your deals.
Right.
And I didn't like the guy. He's the kind of guy that made the hair in the back of my neck stand up.
Right.
So I was like, but he took me out to lunch and we talked about it. And the one thing he said to me, which I'll never forget, was he's like, listen, if you're going to do the volume that you say you're going to do, you're going to feel it. Like you're going to feel, because I said to him, what happens when you're doing like 200 houses a year and the freaking market takes a shit? Like,
right.
What happens to you?
Yeah.
And he's like, if you're doing the kind of numbers you say you're going to do, you're going to feel it. I never forgot that. And then I guess it was 2018, January of 2018. The market was nuts. I did like 90 something houses the year before, and then January came, and I'm like, I just felt something.
Right.
Like it was like a switch. Like somebody flipped a switch. And real estate doesn't tank like the stock market. It's like a slow turning ship.
Right.
But I felt something. I told my friends, I'm like, the party's fucking over. I was like, I was like Q4. I did the timing in my head. I'm like Q4 2019. I think like there's going to be some kind of economic issue. And they're like, you're fucking out of your mind. Yeah. So, I mean, listen, I was 1 quarter off and I had no idea it was going to be some crazy pandemic that swept the country. I mean, it swept the world. But as you get into this, like you feel the kind of ebbs and flows of where things are going to go. Right now, I mean, we have crazy low inventory. We have like super, super low rates. You have people that you want to come to Long Island. And it's always the same story for me. I don't know what kind of buyers and sellers you're dealing with. Everybody I buy a house from has been here for like a million years and they're like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yes.
Yeah. Like
100%.
F this place. It's cold. It's expensive. Yep. I hate Cuomo. I'm out of here. Like that's like literally.
That's it.
And then everyone that's buying is like, I'm tired of living in a shoebox for $1.2 million in Queens and I could shake my neighbor's hand through the window. Right. Like, I'm not doing this again.
Yeah. I'd say if we sold, let's just say, 50 homes in the last 3 months, right? If we sold that amount, 90% of those people are from the city buying.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
The thing that I worry about, I want to get your opinion on this, is so now you have traditional Long Islanders who've been there for the whole life leaving. Mm-hmm. You have people from the city moving to Long Island because they're just like better value, more space, whatever. If politics, not this isn't political because I don't know shit about politics, but if politics stay the same in the sense that, I mean, Long Island is fucking expensive, bro. Like my parents' taxes went up 20%.
It's ridiculous, yeah.
And people are working more from home, and you can work anywhere in the world. Mm-hmm. My fear is that people will eventually be like, what the hell am I doing in New York at all?
Right.
And then the next wave is those people moving out, and it's like, who's coming in, and then what happens to New York? Because, I mean, everything has a life expectancy, right?
Right.
Once upon a time, the USA was not the greatest country in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, I do think working from an office in the city as a whole, at first I was like, I never understood it. I would say, well, why do you need to go to an office? Just work from home. What's the difference? Is it just like a control thing from people's employers?
Yeah.
But I realized maybe it is, but it also may not be. It's that atmosphere.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that the longer people are working from home, the more they want to get back to the office.
You think so?
Right? They got dogs running around, kids running around. It's a nightmare.
Yeah. No, I'm saying I can't. You have to be like a real self motivator to be and your point. Like you need the energy. I come here every day. My staff comes here every day. Like I need that.
Yeah.
Chaotic
so
energy.
I thought that way, and at one point our office actually shut down, like for COVID protection.
Yeah.
I rented out a room, not like a hotel room, but like a conference room at a hotel for those 2 weeks for the team. It's that important to us. Yeah.
Wow.
Like being around one another, that level of energy is so important.
It's contagious.
Yeah.
Lewis. You've been very quiet.
Yeah. I mean,
¿Qué pasó?
He knows what he's talking about, so I'm just gonna let him talk.
How long have you been on the team for?
6 months.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah, probably maybe 7 now.
Something like
7.
How long you been in real estate for?
6 months.
7 months. So no, this is a great question. So
I'm a youngin'.
Tell me about what the experience has been like. No pressure.
Yeah.
Because he's sitting right next to you. But tell me what the experience has been like for you over the last 6, 7 months. Do you have other friends that are real estate agents?
I've had other friends that just started.
Okay.
Or have like side investments and stuff like that.
Okay. I guess the angle I want to go with this is this. Based on your friends, because you don't have experience in another brokerage, you came straight here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So based on your friends' experiences and other brokers, how do you feel? What has your experience been like on the Galligan team? How do you feel the team has helped you in the last 6 and 7 months to achieve your goals versus other people most of the people are just fucking out there. Like the broker doesn't give a shit. They're just out there. There's no training. Even though they said we'll train you, they don't fucking train you.
Yeah.
There's no leads. There's no nothing.
Yep.
So how has this, sped up your development?
Yeah, I know my friends are always asking me for questions or even jobs, and just like they see what we're doing, and it's kind of just a skyrocket at that point. As soon as we hit the team, or at least I came onto the team, it blew up, and I was like, wow, this is something. Like we're moving way too fast. And yeah, exactly. Like, kind of got to get your bearings, and I don't know what I'm doing yet, but I know for a fact. I'm going to learn a lot. And I told Tim on the first interview that we had, I think, or maybe the last interview that we had over the phone, I was like, I don't just want a job with you. I want you to teach me what you know, and I want to grow with the process, and I don't just want to be an employee.
Yeah.
And he's definitely taken that to heart, I feel.
Yeah.
100%. He's definitely taken me under his wing, and I feel like at this point I'm being mentored 100%, and
Nice.
it's a great experience. I'm learning a lot, and I know I've always wanted to be in real estate to an extent. I've always been listening to Bigger Pockets ever since high school and things like that, and my dad's always kind of been instilling that like kind of notion in my mind ever since I was young, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. And I personally didn't do the best in school at all, and so I was kind of like between a rock and a hard place, and I was like, what am I going to do for work? And so I immediately went into sales because I figured at that point, if I can't get any other jobs, why not go ahead and go into sales? And so I did insurance before this, life insurance. And I also did car sales before this also. I don't think you knew that, but
I didn't.
yeah. I
Car
did
sales is brutal,
I did
dude.
used car sales.
That's
well,
tough.
I had a friend who
That's
actually
tough.
started his own used car sales business.
Okay.
And he's going to be selling it soon. But I worked for him like while I was in school over the winter during like a break. And then
Yeah.
I had to leave. But that gave me huge experience.
Oh, yeah.
And at that point, I knew I could talk to people and I could relate to them. And the biggest thing I think is when dealing with a client is being a problem solver and figuring out what they need.
Yeah.
Because a lot of
Right.
people have trouble figuring that out themselves.
Yeah.
And so once you establish what they need, then you can go ahead and just execute, all right, how are we going to fix that problem? How are we going to solve this? And how are we going to get you to where you want to be?
Well, that's essentially what sales is. Like, people don't understand. A wind-up monkey toy can just sell anything if the people are just coming to say, here's my money, here's my money.
Exactly.
Sales begin when the first objection comes out.
Sure.
Right? So as an effective communicator and salesperson, your job is to essentially ask probing questions to beat out objections so that you can then overcome those objections
Right.
and help the people get what they want, which is essentially your product, which you feel is going to satisfy the need.
Yeah, 100%. So we have a kind of like a metaphor of how we think about the sales process. So when you meet someone, like you said, you want to probe those questions, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like as if you were walking down a hallway and all the windows were shut, right? You can't walk into somewhere and say, hey, I'm the best. That doesn't work, right? So how do you prove that? Through asking different questions and open up those windows through conversation, right? So when something is said, you need to know when to jump in and rebuttal. You know,
Yeah.
you need to pry to open up those windows to get your point across, to show that you're the best and how you can provide value to those people in that situation. So it's practice.
You got a lot of cool analogies, bro. Windows, hallways, pistons and shit. Did you make this stuff up or you steal this from people?
No, man, I really make it up.
I literally said it. You said the same exact thing like a week ago.
Like,
yeah.
fuck, this guy's deep.
You got to have that checklist, though, in the back of your mind. That's
Right.
what I first learned when I first started coming into this is I had no idea any of the terminology, how to, like, what anything meant at all. But
Yeah.
I just learned by doing because I would hear him just say all the buzzwords and things
Right.
like that. And then I would start using that kind of stuff and terminology over the phone and, like, whatever else, anyone else I was speaking with. And you kind of realize, like, oh, they said something that fits the narrative that I'm trying to
Correct.
go into.
Yeah,
and
of course.
that's the window. And then you just jump right through.
Yeah, I mean, mentorship is huge, man. In every
Right.
industry, in every business, and everything, it's important, and it's great that you're providing that mentorship for this group of youngsters.
I love it.
And no, it's. I mean, so what do you see for the team going forward? I know you got some big goals.
Yeah.
Put them out there into the world, man.
Yeah, this year our goal is to do over 200 transactions. I'd say year one, which was a lot of learning, man. Like, I always, the first deal I ever got, I didn't even know what I was doing to go there to get the paperwork signed, right? So to get through that and learn, you know, we did about somewhere around 60 transactions within that first year of learning. This year we're looking to do over 200 January to January.
Nice.
From there, continue to scale the team. Once we get those systems and procedures down, it's how do you look elsewhere, replicate it, and grow it further. So maybe it's different markets, geographical markets in the future. Who knows? I mean, that's definitely on my radar and on my map, though.
Good for you, man. Listen, it was an honor to be on yours. Thank you very much for coming on my podcast. I appreciate it. If people are looking, you know, any new agents who are looking to get into the game, or if people, existing agents who aren't getting the traction, they're interested in working with a team, how do they look you guys up? How do they find you? How do they engage?
Yeah, you can find us on social media. Instagram, Facebook is team_Galligan, or you can give me a call at 516-313-8476. Again, that's 516-313-8476.
Awesome. And obviously, if you have a house that smells like cat pee, land, commercial property, anything, real estate related, you know I want to buy it. 516-77-SOLD. You want to reach out and ask me a question about anything, 516-871-3511. And obviously, if you have any kind of permit issue, you got to call the captain, 516-513-8838. That's a wrap.